I know I said literally 2 videos ago that this wasn't a commentary channel, and here I am back with more things to say, but I just can't control it. Like, it has to be let out somehow. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as I'm sure you can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about not the funnest topic. I will be talking today about the normalization of assault towards males. I will not be saying the full phrase, I'll just be saying SA. I would like to keep this video monetized so I can get my bi-weekly 20 cents. Thank you. This was inspired by the recent goings on over on TikTok. I don't really follow TikTokers. I don't care. To be honest with you, I don't care. But I did recently get recommended a video that Sienna May posted where she talked about like the truth or something or the other. I'm not saying anything. I want to say that everything in this is alleged. I heard she's taken legal action. They're gathering evidence. I'm not saying anything. However, I think that by the title and topic of this video, you probably know where I stand, but I'm not saying anything. It's all alleged. It is all alleged. You ain't catching me slipping. Not today. So while her video, her alleged actions did inspire this, it isn't something that's a new topic. Before we do that, there are two things that I would like to say. First, if this is your first time seeing my face, hi, my name is Chia. I make videos here on the internet, and it would make me super happy if you could subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also like this video, even though you haven't really watched it, but just take my word for it. Secondly, I want to issue a quick disclaimer. By making this video, I'm not saying that women themselves are not victims of SA. That is a lie. If you've lived on this earth for any amount of time, I'm sure you know that's a lie. However, I do think that we've made leaps and bounds. Maybe that's a strong phrase. And let's also not forget my senior capstone paper that opened with the sentence, "For decades, women have been SA'd." And the man who was reviewing it said, "I don't think it's been that long."
What?
We've definitely made improvement with the way that we handle SA towards women in terms of the support that we give them and the way that we believe them and the groups that have been made for them versus the way that we handle it with men, and it just isn't up to par. It's a little bit of a discrepancy. But yes, I just want to say, like, I know it's not fixed with women. This isn't like me moving on to the next problem. This is me trying to spotlight something that is very much an issue that I feel like isn't talked about enough. I also want to say that throughout the video, I do use some generalizations kind of to make points. I understand that the human identity is so much more multifaceted than that, and I'm not in any way trying to like make generalizations or assumptions about people in real life. It's just kind of to make a point. Also, I do think that we have also, the same way that we've made improvements towards the way we handle female assault victims, I do think that we've also made similar improvements towards the way that we handle male assault victims. However, I think that our social beliefs and like biases do kind of get in the way of that. So that's what I wanted to address in this video. First thing I want to talk about is the culture surrounding men, and the conversation surrounding that with men and boys is just a lot more open, whether it's with their friends or even their parents who are like,
"Yeah, slugger, go get yourself a girlfriend. Come on, yeah. If she says no, just try again.
Be persistent."
This level of exploration and delving into your first girlfriend and the first kiss, it's all encouraged, it's all expected, and that is different with women. When guys are sleeping around or they're scoring with tons of women, that's something that's praised in their friend group. However, if a girl were to do the same thing, then all of a sudden she's less than holy. And I think that's really where this starts. We built men up to be these sexually crazed, strong alpha males.
In this world, there are two types of men. There are alphas and there are betas.
Alphas are strong, betas are weak.
So if a man is a victim of SA, that is dissonant with that image that we have as men as a whole. Just what a man is supposed to be. However, when a woman is a victim of SA, it matches the image that we have for her. Weaker than men, maybe dumber than men, or maybe more deserving of it. Maybe she's wearing something too tight or too revealing, but that is not the conversation that we're here to have. Let's also talk about the lack of exposure to the idea of men being victims of SA. There's something called the familiarity effect, which just essentially means that through repeated exposure to something, you become more familiar with the idea.
I will note that the mere exposure effect states that the more exposure you have to something, the more you like it. In this case, it isn't really about us liking the event that's happening, but just the increased familiarity with it, which causes us to question it less.
So back to the topic of women being victims of SA, that is something that we have seen for so long. So long. As I said in the beginning of the video, it is not a fixed problem. However, we are used to seeing it. It's disheartening and disappointing and heartbreaking, yes, but it isn't surprising. It isn't unfamiliar to us. However, when a man is a victim of SA, especially if he's strong or tall or big or bulky or just really any synonym that we can associate with men, it's really surprising, right? It's really dissonant with our image of them, and it's really unfamiliar to us, which leads us to being a little bit more wary of accepting that as fact. There's also the culture of men not really being able to deviate outside of what is expected for them as men. When you're a man, you are strong, resilient, steadfast, unyielding. You don't talk about your feelings. You're probably a little toxic masculine, you know, that man. However, this image does not account for all the men who aren't that. Not saying that man doesn't exist. Honey, he exists. I've met one too many.
Alphas are strong, betas are weak.
We aren't accounting for the men who are more feminine or aren't built like linebackers or are more emotional and want to talk about their feelings or just are different in any way from this weird image that we have of men that has stayed with us for centuries. We have indoor plumbing, electric cars, modern medicine, air conditioning, yet we can't just tweak our image of what a man should be. Because of this, men don't really feel comfortable sharing their feelings, lest they be teased, because if a man is drunk and taken advantage of, he's still scored. However, if a woman is drunk and the same thing happens to her, then it's, I hope you're okay. We stand with you. We support you, as it should be for her, but also for him too. And because men know that they might be ridiculed for coming forward with their stories, this perpetuates the cycle of them not coming forward with their stories, which ties back to the familiarity effect, where we are not familiar with men coming forward with their stories because nobody wants to be ridiculed for something that was so traumatic that happened to them. Let's talk about the Me Too movement, which, I mean, I'm sure you saw this coming. It shouldn't be surprised that I'm talking about this considering the topic that we're talking about. I'm sure that most, if not all of you know what it is, but I'm still gonna just go over it just in case. The Me Too movement was a movement started in 2006 by Tarana Burke when she was a survivor of SA. However, I'm sure like me, many of you didn't really hear about it until 2017 with the rise of the Harvey Weinstein case, and then also the Silence Breakers being named as the New York Times Person of the Year. I really do think that the Me Too movement has done great things for a woman's ability to come forward and share what has happened to her. That being said, obviously it's still not a perfect process. There are people who will believe her, there are people who will ridicule her or tell her that she probably deserved it. And notice I said woman, because I don't think that the movement has been as gentle with men. And that isn't to say that men haven't come forward in the conversation, because they have. However, the public sentiment towards them is a lot different than it is with women. There's Alex Winter, Michael Gaston, Anthony Rapp. These are just some off the top of my head. However, I'm sure there are many more. For today though, I specifically want to focus on Terry Crews. When he came forward with the story, he was met with a wave of backlash, of disbelief.
These responses are similar to what a woman might face, except for the added layer that Terry Crews is a quite large man, which does add complexity, as you can see where some of his colleagues are ridiculing him and just flat out not believing it.
In case you don't know, Terry Crews is a black, 6'2", 245-pound ex-football player who looks like this. So yeah, people saw that and thought, how could you have been a victim of SA? I'm sure this has to do with how black men, and honestly just black people in general, are over-sexualized and over-masculinized and dehumanized. But again, that's a different conversation that we're not here to talk about.
But I mean, while we're here, we may as well just talk about it, because I do think that it plays a part in the story. In the 1800s, there was a book called Red Rock written, where one of the characters, Moses, is portrayed as this black brute who's lacking all morality. In the book, he tries to rape a white woman and is later lynched for that crime. That isn't something that is unique to that book alone. It's a harmful lie that was perpetuated for so long. The idea of the black rapist or the dishonest, brutal black man who is after white women, and white women need to be protected from this man. And so I think that now, when you look at somebody like Terry Crews, who is built the way that he is and is a black man, it is slightly dissonant with this image that had been perpetuated for so long. And I'm not saying that everybody looks at black men and is like, oh well, we gotta look out for them, but it would be slightly remiss of me not to mention that, considering the fact that this country does have a slightly complicated history when it comes to its relationship with Black people.
People didn't want to believe it because, again, it ties back to the lack of familiarity with this specific type of event. And also, because of his stature, they were like, how could it happen to you? A power imbalance isn't just physical, it can also be societal. It can take place in so many different forms. Luckily, there are sources like Male Survivor, which has been open since 1995, to help men in this situation. But I just frankly think that we aren't doing enough or talking about this enough. So while there are sources out there, I just think that we need to do more. To wrap this up, I think that really one of the most important things that we can do moving forward is to confront our own biases. We all have them. When the whole story came out with Sienna May, tying it back to that, I honestly was kind of just already on her side, which is just a disgusting thing. Again, I'm not saying anything, this is all alleged. It's really important to constantly question your biases because they're always there, running, working overtime, even though nobody asked her to come into the office, she's always there, living rent free in your damn head. So you've got to question them and question why certain things are normal to you.
Maybe normal is too strong of a word. Maybe I should say allowable. Like, for instance, Bridgerton, which wasn't some small back alley indie film, it was a very widely watched mainstream TV show that aired on Netflix. And there is a scene where a female character assaults a male character. And yet, I feel like we didn't really hear much about it in terms of backlash towards Netflix or towards the writer of the books. However, if the roles were reversed, I think that we can say people would probably have been a little bit more vocal. So it really comes down to asking ourselves, why is it that certain things are more normal to us or more allowable to us than other things?
I'm gonna end it here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe for more content and let me know if there's anything you guys want me to talk about, because I definitely have kind of a running list of things that I'm interested in talking about, but I'm totally open to suggestions, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Let it go, make my body go. Take our bodies high.